Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about CRPS, or complex regional pain syndrome after an accident. Um, this is what the condition is. The condition is a neurological condition which can cause a number of findings for the person. And the findings are this. Number one, allodynia. What does allodynia mean? Allodynia means a high pain with a slight amount of pressure. So it's pain that is a lot more than somebody would expect. Somebody who has CRPS will, for instance, have tremendous pain and complain of a pain as a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 if somebody just rubs along their arm, if that's where the CRPS is, or if water from a shower will touch it, or cold weather will touch it. So that is allodynia. The second thing that you might see is you might see skin changes. You might see a change in sweating. You might see a change in your hair distribution in your arms or your hands or your legs. For instance, the area where you have the CRPS, you might start to lose hair and the area will be bald. So those are the typical types of changes. Allodynia, problems with temperature, atrophy in the area or a shrinking of the area, and changes potentially with sweating, and you might lose hair. So those are the changes. Now, what causes CRPS? Nobody really knows. It can be caused by trivial trauma. I've had patients, and when I was a chiropractic physician, and I've had clients who have had CRPS. One person was hit by, their hand was hit by a mirror in a car that was passing by. Another person had a broken ankle. Another person had surgery, and the surgery was enough of trauma. The issue is, though, you can't say big trauma that you're going to develop CRPS. You can be a trivial trauma like banging your hand. Doesn't require a fracture, doesn't require major surgery. And the other thing with CRPS is the diagnosis sometimes is pretty difficult to make, because many times it's not on the forefront of the physician's mind, and this person will be complaining of pain and these problems, and the physician's notes will say something like, well, the pain is really out of line with what we would think we would see with this. And so then people start to think that the problem is in the patient's or client's head and that they're making it up. So what type of specialist deals with folks with CRPS? Well, typically they might be referred to a neurologist. Sometimes the neurological testing is positive. Most of the times the neurological testing is negative, and that will be one of the delineations between CRPS 1 and CRPS 2. So they might find their way to a neurologist, but most of the time they will eventually make their way to somebody who specializes in CRPS, and they might have a specialty of either physiatry or pain management. And so a number of the treatments to see if the person will get better from the CRPS are something called ganglion blocks. And the ganglion blocks, most of the time, are done by doctors who specialize in pain management. And you're saying, well, what is a ganglia? Well, a ganglia is a bunch of nerves that sit on the outside of the spinal column. And the ganglia gets nerves from different areas of the spine, but the ganglia really have to do with something called the autonomic nervous system. See, the nervous system pretty much comes in three flavors. We have the central nervous system, which is the brain and spinal cord. We have the peripheral nervous system, which are the nerves that go out from the neck into the body, from the back into the legs. And then we have the autonomic nervous system, which is the automatic system. And that's the reason why folks will have problems with sweating. They will have problems with skin. They will have problems with hair growth because the autonomic nervous system is involved. So what the injection into the ganglia will do, the doctor, or depending upon where the CRPS is, lower extremity or upper extremity, will put an injection or anesthetic into one of the ganglia. And what it's trying to do is to see if that impacts the actual pain. And if it does impact the pain, sometimes that could go ahead and help treat the CRPS. There's also a number of other treatments for CRPS. Some of it is biofeedback, can be used. Some folks need a spinal cord stimulator. So depending upon the nature and extent of the CRPS, that will dictate the treatment. If you have any questions about CRPS after an accident, you can always reach out to me. I am Guy DiMartino, meeting you at the intersection of law and medicine. Have a great day.